we've done this session so many times before, but today the context is completely different. We're talking about discovering your music. Today I want to call it rediscovering your music. So more about the two guys at the back here just now. I want to talk about the impact of this COVID-19, of the coronavirus on all of us all over the world today, here actually from South Africa, and just share hopefully something inspirational with you. So here's the context for today. So many people are unemployed. It's actually devastating, and the interesting thing is if you see people losing their security and becoming hysterical. I've been watching TV a lot, like all of us, to get informed about this, and what I see a lot is people phoning in and saying, what am I going to do? How's the government going to help me? How am I going to actually ever find security again? So today we've got a message for you, and we believe that we can, through music, help you to rediscover your music by being inspired by the musicians that you see here. So I'm going to ask Jaco Boettger here on my left and Gropp to help us, and they're going to play the first song. And after they've done that, I'm going to use music as an analogy to describe how you can rediscover your music and how we can beat this thing and come out of this stronger and inspired. So before we do anything else, let's just listen to them and get into the groove, and then we'll talk about this rediscovering your music.
Men I've been seeing lately have got their souls upon a shelf. You know they could never love you if they can't even love themselves. And you need someone to love you. Darling, I know I can. I won't put myself above you. I'll just love you like a man. I've never seen such losers, darling. Even though you try to find you a man who will take you home instead of always for a ride. Don't you need someone to love you? Darling, I know I can. I won't put myself above you. I'll just love you like a man. They all want you to rock them like your back ain't got no bone. Want a man to rock you like your backbone was his own. Darling, I know I can. I won't put myself above you. I'll just love you like a man. Take it away, Leon. Oh, come and sad and lonely, you feel like you wanna cry. You need someone to love you, not some fool to ask you why. You need someone to love you. Darling, I know I can. I won't put myself above you. I'll just love you like a man. Hey. Hey.
Now that you've seen these guys in action, I'm sure you'll agree with me, they're absolutely amazing. So let's not beat about the bush and get to where we want to be today. So here's my first question. Do you really think that after COVID-19, when they get back into the groove, people will not pay them to do what he did on this piano and what Leon did here? Of course they will, because these guys are just so good at what they do. And let me remind you about something. They lost all their gigs. They lost all their income. But they're not hysterical, because they have done what you should do and what I should do and what we all should do to survive after this virus. Maybe this is a great wake-up call. You know what? We need to discover our music like they've discovered their music. The only security they've got is in their competencies. They made what we call a security shift. Instead of finding their security in systems and structures and jobs, they find their security in what they can do. And they can make music, and they will go back there, and they've got their security in the fact that they can go out there and people say, wow, I want to use these guys because they're good at what they do. So how does it differ from us? It shouldn't differ at all from what we do and how we do it. So I want to use and quickly introduce this analogy. I've got this a wooden water bird here, and I want to use this as a very quick narrative and story. You know, these things are called the African jacanas, and it's amazing what this guy did with this. Obviously, this artist discovered his or her music by looking at a piece of driftwood and created this bird with his or her imagination. Here's the story about these birds. They walk on water lilies, and the moment they step on a lily, the water lily will actually bend, take on water, and immediately sink. So the only way they can survive is when the lily sinks, they got to go to the next leaf. And that will immediately sink. It's inevitable. So they've got to do what we call perpetual motion to move on. So they've done something interesting. They made a security shift. They've realized that there's no security in the leaf. All leaves sink. So the only security they've got is in their competencies and in their natural God-given ability. So why are we saying this? Of course, our leaves are sinking. And you know, it's very interesting when you tell people that they should not find their security in leaves. We've done this session many, many times. They listen, they say, yes, I understand it. But you don't really understand it unless your leaf actually sunk. Now, with this virus, many people are sitting at home now because they've lost their jobs. There's staggering unemployment. The number of leaves that sunk is amazing, and people are getting hysterical. They're in trouble. And the reason is we've actually started to believe that our security is in the leaf. Imagine if the bird did that. Your security is not in the leaf. Read as and see as, not in a system, in a structure, in an organization, in a position, in a BMW, in money. The only security you've got is in your ability, when this leaf sinks, to actually move on to the next leaf. And we've got to take this with us, and after this virus, remember that the only security we've got is actually in our competencies. And we've got to actually do like these guys are doing and saying, I've discovered my music. So here's the question, what is your music? Somebody the other day said to me, Jaco, don't take this too far. What about a bus driver? They are dependent on their job as a bus driver. And I looked at that and I thought maybe the person is right. And then I thought, but this is nonsense. The bus driver's security is not in the job because he's got a job, or she, at the city council where they're driving the bus. Their security is in the fact that they can drive a bus. They are awesome. Their music is in their driving ability, in their skills. So we've got a cameraman here today that's standing behind the camera today, Jean, the brother of Jacques. Yeah, sounds like Jean-Jacques Rousseau, and we go to the French Revolution. In any case, you can't see him, but this guy is actually a world-renowned photographer. He doesn't work for anybody. And you know, the amazing thing is, he's not fazed, because he's discovered that he can make magic with that. So if you align who you are with what you do, you become liberated. So here's my message. Whether you are into computers or sales in marketing, whether you're a chef, align who you are with what you do, because then you carry your security with you. You become a water bird. And a lot of people want to scare us into the thing, to think that our security is in the jobs that we are. I hope you've seen now that when the chips are down and when the leaves sink, It's everybody for themselves. And since the Industrial Revolution, we've forgotten that. So let's put a little bit of science into this. There's a magical a book out there called What Color is Your Parachute? Actually, I think first written 1969, updated. I saw the 2019 one. I haven't seen the 2021 yet. Richard Bolus. Richard Bolus says, and he gives us a little help, to understand whether you've discovered your music. You've got to ask yourself 3 things about the job you're currently doing. If you can answer yes to these 3 things, if you analyze his work in his book, then you're okay, then you've discovered your music. The moment that you do that, you are liberated, because then you've made that security shift. So it sounds so simple, but here's the thing. People that have discovered their music make a security shift. They carry their security with them, like these musicians. And we will all go through moments when our leaves sink. We will go through difficult times. But then we need to remember this. The moment that we can get back out there and start working again, we've got to align who we are with what we do. Let me just share this with you. It was actually shocking to me. On television, there was this psychiatrist, and people could phone in, very famous international channel. And a lot of people could ask him questions. It was on Skype, and they said, please tell me, what do I do now? How do I keep myself occupied in this time that we're in lockdown? And I really got frightened. I thought to myself, the guy that phoned in looked like on Skype like he was in his 50s. And I said to myself, really, you're asking somebody how to keep yourself occupied? So it's an illness of our time. How do I keep myself occupied? People that have discovered their music, people that are aligned in what they do with who they are, they create magic, and they say, thank God for this moment to rediscover who I am. So after they played us another piece of wonderful inspirational music, I want to answer this question. If it's so simple to discover our music, and if we can do it, why do people not do this? So let's try to answer that question, get some music and inspiration a little bit first.
Coffee, I take tea, my dear. I like my toast on the roadside. And you can hear it in my accent when I talk. I'm an Englishman in New York. You see me walking down Fifth Avenue, a walking cane here by my side. I take it everywhere I walk. Ooh, I'm an Englishman in New York. Oh, I'm an alien, I'm a legal alien, I'm an Englishman in New York. Oh, I'm an alien, I'm a legal alien, I'm an Englishman in New York. Manners maketh man, as some might say. He's the hero of the day. It takes a man to suffer ignorance and smile. Be yourself, no matter what they say. Be yourself, no matter what they say. Be yourself, no matter what they say. Oh, I'm an alien, I'm a legal alien, I'm an Englishman in New York. Oh, I'm an alien, I'm a legal alien, I'm an Englishman in New York. Modesty, propriety can lead to notoriety, but you can end up as the only one. Gentleness, sobriety are rare in this society. Igniting candles brighter than the sun. but here to make a man takes more than a license for a gun. Confront your enemies, avoid them if you can. A gentleman will walk but never run. Ooh, a gentleman will walk but never run. Be yourself, no matter what they say. Be yourself, no matter what they say. Oh, be yourself, no matter what they say. Be yourself, no matter what they say. Oh, I'm an alien, I'm a legal alien, I'm an Englishman in New York. Oh, I'm an alien, I'm a legal alien, I'm an Englishman in New York. Be yourself, no matter what they say. Be yourself, no matter what they say. Be yourself, no matter what they say. Be yourself, no matter. Be yourself, no matter what they say.
Now, we've said that if you can discover your music and if you can align who you are with what you do, you create magic, you make a security shift, and you go through these things in lives where the leaves are sinking easier. And like I said, so many people's leaves have gone now, and there's this massive unemployment. We need to get ourselves ready and become waterbirds and rediscover our music. Why don't people do it, and what's the hurdles to discovering your music? So I quickly want to share two concepts with you. The first one I got from Cloak and Goldsmith, where they said in a book called, if I'm correct, The End of Management and the Beginning of Organizational Democracy. And Cloak and Goldsmith actually says there are two reasons why people don't want to, in our terms, we translate it into this terminology, don't want to become waterbirds and discover their music. The first one is some leaders, some people in powerful positions don't like you to become a waterbird, because then they don't have positional power, they can't threaten you and they can't bully you. So systemically, a lot of us have been told not to discover our music, because then nobody can say to you, I'm going to fire you. If you do this again, you lose your job. So even our schools and universities, we've actually been brainwashed to believe that we can find our security in jobs, which I hope you can see now is nonsense. So that is the first hurdle that we have got to overcome. But you know what? That's a small hurdle. The second hurdle, amazingly, is ourselves. Because here's the thing. If you discover your music and you start accepting that you've got to take responsibility for discovering your music and starting to walk on water, you can't blame other people. And the single biggest hurdle to becoming a waterbird is to take responsibility and to stop blaming. You go out now after you've seen this and switch on your TV. And the first thing you're going to see is where people say the government must. The city council must, the mayor must, the federal government must, our local government must. What are people going to do for us? In this world, it's what we're going to do for ourselves, and we need to actually look into ourselves and say, what is it that I've got, that God's given me to do? Because all of you have got that, but a lot of people don't want you to hear that, because then you are liberated. And I want to say this again, doesn't matter what you do and how humble your job is, maybe that's where the most powerful music lies, in preparing food, in driving a car, in taking dogs for a walk, whatever it is that you love. You can actually think about the analogy of people creating art. So your imagination might be the music that you need to discover. Yes, the deepest point, and our vulnerability. You know, this question about people saying, how do I occupy myself? Here's the most difficult thing that you need to go out there and do. You need to look into the mirror. You need to stop your velocity. got this from David White's book, Works of Pilgrimage, Crossing the Unknown Sea. And then you've got to ask yourself, what am I doing with my life? Am I playing and making my music? And the moment you do that, you've got to actually get face to face with your mortality. You've got to accept your mortality. In this time with this virus, maybe not a bad idea to say, am I going to be buried with my music still inside of me, like Oliver Wendell Holmes said? Or have I got the courage to say, what the hell am I doing with my life, with the God-given abilities that I've got, with the competence, with the potential inside of me? But you see, if you stop and you stop partying for a minute and you start thinking and become a little bit serious, maybe this thing is a great equalizer in the world at the moment. Then you are confronted with this mortality, and you've got to ask yourself, what am I doing with this gift that's called life? Am I optimizing who I am and what I should be doing? But you see, we need guts to do that. And we don't want to hear that we're not going to be here forever. But we are part of this amazing and mysterious universe where nothing lasts forever. And we need to get back in tune with that. And we need to have the moral and the spiritual courage to say we are here for a reason, to optimize who we are, to align what we do with who we are, and to create that magic. But to do that, we need to first re-embrace our vulnerability. And I'm going to ask the musos to do something for us to actually illustrate that, because they can do it better than I can do it. And after that, we'll talk about, so what can we go out and do after you've seen this session, after we've been inspired by the musos.
Blood will flow, and flesh and steel are one, drying in the color of the evening sun. Tomorrow's rain will wash those stains away. Something in our minds will always say, "Who on and on the rain will fall like tears from a star, like tears from a star." On and on the rain will say how fragile we are, how fragile we Perhaps this final act was meant to cleanse a lifetime's argument. Oh, nothing comes from violence, and nothing ever should. All those born beneath an angry star, lest we forget how fragile we are. Ooh, on and on the rain will fall like tears from a star, like tears from a star. Ooh, on and on the rain will say how fragile we are, how fragile we tears from a star, like tears from a star. Ooh, on and on the rain will say how fragile we are, how fragile we are. Ooh, how fragile, how fragile.
So we talked about what do we do after this virus. This thing's going to lift. It's going to go away, and many people will not have jobs. And let me tell you, I think that the world's never going to be the same again. So we talk about these new curves in life. We talk about quantum leaps. We need to, I think, take action, because to become a waterbird now is not optional anymore. It's not a luxury. The only security in the postmodern world that we will ever have is in our competencies, in growing our feet, in discovering our music. What better time than during a lockdown to sit and reflect about this, to rediscover your inspiration, to liberate yourself, to align who you are with what you do. And of course, it's a process. Of course, we need to start it somewhere. So let me just give you a couple of scientific and researched perspectives on this, on whether this is possible. So think about this one. The first one I want to share with you is actually what Simon Sinek did. He's so popular, and people like him so much. So I don't think that I even have to introduce this. His big question is, why do you do what you do? It aligns perfectly with what Richard Bowler said about the 3 questions that I referred to earlier. Then the next one you can actually go and check out. So go and read about, go and Google Simon Sinek. Then do Stephen Covey, the 7 habits, the 8th habit. You've got these little circles there, and about your passion, what you need to be doing. And in the middle, he calls it your voice. If you have Googled that and you've read that, you can go on to From Good to Great, Jim Collins's work, where he also talks about in the middle there what your purpose is and your core is. Think about Ikigai, the Japanese concept, where they are now saying it's at the core of your soul. It's who you are supposed to be. So go and Google these concepts. One that I like a hell of a lot is Charles Handy. In his book about new curves, he talks about the golden seed, and he says that all of us have got a golden seed that's been given to us by God, and if we can inspire people to actually try to discover that seed and to cultivate that seed and to get people to understand why they are on earth and embrace that, we've given somebody security for life, because then their security is not in their current jobs and in their status. And maybe this thing that's happened to us has actually given us the opportunity to take this seriously. So the message that I want to give is the research has been done. We know that this is true, but we haven't heard that. You know why we haven't heard that? Because our leaves didn't sink. We had this luxury of not having to actually look at that and being fully human. If your leaves sink, you might just now discover that you've got the courage and the ability to redefine yourself, to grow your feet, and to walk into a new world, and to walk into a new definition of yourself, and have a fulfilled and inspirational life. And if you go out here, my wish for you is that you go out and you make your music like these guys are going to make their music now. From my side, God bless, look after yourself, discover your music, and make a security shift. And the future is guaranteed to be brilliant for you and your loved ones.
Feeling my way through the darkness, I'm guided by a beating heart. I can't tell where the journey will end, but I know where it starts. They tell me I am too young to understand. They say I'm caught up in a dream. Life will pass me by if I don't open up my eyes. Well, that's fine by me. So wake me up when it's all over, when I'm wiser and I'm older. All this time I was finding myself, and I didn't know I was lost. So wake me up when it's all over, when I'm wiser and I'm older. try carrying the weight of the world, but I only have two hands. I hope I get the chance to travel the world, but I don't have any plans. I wish that I could stay forever this young, not afraid to close my eyes. Life's a game made for everyone, and love is a prize. So wake me up when it's all over, when I'm wiser and I'm older. All this time I was finding myself, and I didn't know I was lost. So wake me up when it's all over, when I'm wiser and I'm older. All this time I was finding myself, and I was Iets is dit.
So, om jou musiek te vind. Een van die maniere wat ek my musiek vrylaat in die wêreld is deur fotografie en videografie. En ja, alhoewel hierdie tydperk vir ons almal in sekere maniere onsekerheid veroorsaak, is daar 'n mate daarvan wat ek as 'n vryskut fotograaf aangewoond is. Met maandelikse, daaglikse, weeklikse veranderinge. Ja, so ek dink maniere wat ek in hierdie tyd geïnspireerd bly is deur musiek te luister en te lees en met die mense in my onmiddellike omgewing saam te eet en te kuier en ja, ek dink hierdie is vir my definitief 'n tydperk van binne te kyk en delf vir daai dinge wat nog nie die lig gesien het nie. En in my konteks delf ek so ook my harde skywe wat vol foto's en video's is wat ek nog nie geraak het nie. En baie van dit was plekke waar ek alleen was of saam met mense was. Ja, en ek dink as mens weer kan op 'n plek kom wat jy besef hoekom jy hierdie doen. Ek dink na ruk is jy so in die routine van, in my geval foto's, dat jy eintlik vergeet van die musiek want dit word so natuurlik en of instink. So ja, ek wil aanmoedig, tel op daai boek, tel op daai kamera wat in die kas lê of doen navorsing oor hoe gesonde groente gegroei word. En alhoewel ek dink verveeldheid nie 'n slegte ding is nie, dink ek nie daar is 'n rede om onnodig verveeld te voel of te wees in hierdie tyd nie. Ja, so loop agter jou nuuskierigheid aan. loop nuuskierig agter jou nuuskierigheid aan. En dalk sal jy ook verbaas wees waar jy uitkom.
I would first just like to say that it's been an absolute pleasure to be part of these Find Your Music sessions with Jaco and Leon. And I'm glad we could do another one just before lockdown. And I think that my message to you guys during this period of time would be to stop filling our lives with entertainment the whole time, and maybe embrace boredom a little bit. I have a friend who told me last year somewhere that being bored is one of the greatest gifts that you can have, because it really forces you to dig a little bit deeper into your soul and into life. And now that we have the time, I hope that will be what you're doing with your family and with your loved ones that are with you. Really seek the value inside of each other. And for me, I really believe that it's going to bring us back to a place that you've maybe forgotten is inside of you. That said, I hope that you guys are safe and healthy, and we'll see you on the other side.
What an incredible and absurd time to be alive. The positive thing for me is that in this time we are forced to look inside for meaning, for security, because all the external stuff has gone away and faded. One of my lockdown reads is this one, just to reread it again, an old classic in a way. One of the best-selling books ever, I think. And it's such a simple message. Beautifully at the back it says an unconditional faith in an unconditional meaning is Viktor Frankl's message. And I really believe that in this time we have to find that unconditional meaning. We need to delve really, really deep, because the world as we know it will never be the same. But I see the role of art and artists primarily to inspire others to find the greatness in themselves. And I really and truly hope that in this time and the time that is yet to come, this life that we not going to know anymore most probably, that you find that meaning, that you find that purpose, and that you are inspired by making your own art, making your own music.